Good afternoon and welcome to this week's episode of Indie Beauty TV. It is lovely to see you all again. It's a solo recording today. You've just got me. I'm only just recovering from last week's episode actually with Gemma Harling from Lumi Consultancy. It was such an amazing episode. Gemma is an ex-buyer for a very big beauty retailer here in the UK. She now has her own consultancy, and last week she came and joined and did such an amazing episode with us, all about really pulling the curtain back and taking you behind the scenes on what happens at retailers and what they need you to do and how you can be prepared to pitch to them. If you did not see that episode, do go back. It's in the feed here on Facebook. Just scroll down. I think it was episode 6 or 7, but it's labelled up really clearly. You won't be able to miss it. So after the wonderful fun that we had last week doing our recording with Gemma, you have just got me this week, and I'm taking it a bit easy this week because I like to be able to share with you lots of different things, because Indie Beauty Delivers is a community, and it's a community for you to hang out in and learn and share about all sorts of things really that can help make a difference in your lives. Now, most of us in the community are beauty entrepreneurs, so I talk a lot about beauty and I bring all my marketing background and my logistics background in, but sometimes I like to go a little bit off-piste and just talk about things in general that as entrepreneurs are blooming good and that we should all be getting a bit more of and really, really enjoying. So today the episode is all about podcasts. Podcasts are literally taking over the world, aren't they? Everybody you speak to has got their favourite podcast. And you know, I understand why they are so popular. I mean, I love them. I absolutely adore them. So I understand why they're so popular, because they go anywhere with you when you're walking the dogs, when you're doing the gardening, when you're doing a run, keeping fit, going to the gym, cooking, on the train. They are literally like so easy. And like sometimes, so I was in London earlier this week at Professional Beauty and a logistics conference. I was too tired on the train to read on the way back, but I just plugged in my earplugs and just sat there and listened to podcasts. So for any of you who haven't tried podcasts yet, you need to give it a go because they are really, really cool. So I'm here to give you a helping hand, I guess, to guide you to a few podcasts which I really, really just can't live without. I've picked 3 that are specifically about the beauty industry that I have been listening to. And I've picked 2 that are a little bit wider. They're just a little bit of a behind the scenes about the sorts of things that I like to listen to, which helps me kind of live my best life every day. And I've also got you a few recommendations that were popped into my Facebook group from Rebecca. Now, I haven't listened to any of these, but I have checked them out today and they look pretty good. So I will be listening to them in some more detail. So by the end of this episode, you're going to have maybe about 10 plus podcasts that you may want to go and check out. So if you have any questions during the broadcast, you know where you need to put them in the comments below. Even if you're watching this on replay, pop them in the comments below. Tag me in so that I know that they're there. And if you've got any podcasts that you want to recommend that I go and tune into, then pop those in the comments below as well. I would really like to hear them. So I'm going to head straight in. I've got notes today, look, to make sure that I don't forget anything. So my first podcast that I think every beautypreneur should be listening to is a new podcast. There's only 6 episodes so far, and it's called Clean Beauty Insiders. Now, some of you might be familiar with Clean Beauty Insiders. It's a sort of a community where people share blogs and recipes about clean beauty, essentially. It's connected to the brand By Bee, the kind of real challenger brand By Bee, because Dom and Elsie, the girls behind the Clean Beauty Insiders, are also the founders of By Bee. And that's what makes this podcast so very, very interesting. So what the podcast is all about is it's a really open, really honest, really frank, and oftentimes really raw, real life look at the beauty industry as a whole, but also at the challenges that you face when you're launching your own beauty business or your own business in general. Dom and Elsie are really, really open in these podcasts, and they talk about the challenges that they've faced. Really, they warts and all, and they are packed. Each episode is packed with real advice and real inspiration from two people who are really seriously making a difference in the clean beauty world and the beauty industry. The format of their podcast is at the beginning, they do a little chit chat about what's been going on in the industry during that week, which is really useful because it kind of just helps you to just focus in very quickly on the main things that are going on. And it's key as entrepreneurs to be in tune with what's happening in the industry. So they do that bit for you. And they just have a little discussion about what's been going on and the key things that have happened. And then they go into a quite detailed sort of breakdown of the topic that they're covering. So you've only got 6 episodes to catch up on if you go and sign up and subscribe to this one. They've done a podcast about, the first one was about their journey so far in launching By Bee. They did one around Christmas all about zero waste in beauty and zero waste in your life. They did a best beauty products of 2018. They did an incredibly honest and frank episode in between Christmas and New Year about the challenges they faced as brand founders. They then looked at vegan January and vegan beauty. And their final one, if you catch up, is an interview with the influencer Bambi Does Beauty, which again is really interesting because it talks about how influencers work and how you can work with influencers. So this one is an absolute must. You've only got 6 episodes to catch up on. It's Clean Beauty Insiders. That's the name of the podcast. And I would recommend that every single beautypreneur is signed up to this particular one. Number 2 of my favourite podcast, still staying industry specific. This is The Clean Chat by Raquel, who heads up the Clean Hub, which I'm sure most of you are aware of. If you're not, go and check out the Clean Hub website to find out more details about the amazing services that Raquel provides beauty brands and beautypreneurs over there. So they have their own podcast. There are 30 episodes, so quite a lot to catch up on there. However, their episodes are quite short and sweet. They're really punchy. They get to the point, they deliver the message, and they move on. So they're quite easy to run through quite a few on a dog walk, I can tell you. They are packed with value. They're always interviews. Raquel interviews sort of industry experts. So when I say an industry expert and then I follow it up by going, so she's interviewed me, it makes me feel like I've got a big head. But so I've been involved in a podcast with her. Gemma from Lumi, who was with us last week, she's done a podcast with her. She had a person on who was a blogging expert, teaching us how to do all our SEO and things like that. She's had investors on there, people who can tell you how to make your pitch deck look brilliant. She had Ali Rook, who's the amazing lady who can help brands enter the Asian beauty market and advise on the Asian beauty market. I'm hoping to get her on an Indie Beauty TV soon. Shh, she doesn't know yet. She also does interviews with founders as well, and they're always nice and frank and open. And I think the most memorable one for me was with Zafran O'Sullivan, the founder of 5 Dot Botanics, one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to. As well as doing experts, Raquel also interviews lots of brand founders as well. So it's a really, really lovely podcast. Short, sweet, packed with value. Definitely again one to subscribe to and get downloading those 30 episodes that you have missed so far. Okay, my third podcast, which I am enjoying now, I'm going to caveat that slightly in that I have only just found this one in the last few weeks and I haven't had a chance to listen to too many of them. What I have heard so far, I have enjoyed. So I've popped it on here because I think it's an interesting one. It's called The Skinny on Beauty, Skinny, Skinny, and it's by Cheryl Hawley. And It's basically interviews with I'm reading this to make sure I get it right. Interviews with top entrepreneurs and brands in fashion, beauty and wellness. And it's focusing in on digital marketing strategies, advice, self-improvement, motivation skills. It's just a great podcast from what I've found so far for entrepreneurs in the wellness world. It's got episodes on how to use Google Analytics. It's got episodes on how to use the your story to grow your brand and communicate and engage with your followers. It's got episodes on how to work with influencers, how to get subscribers onto your mailing list, and it's delivered in a really, really nice way. And there's 20 episodes so far. So like I say, I've only listened to a couple so far and I've liked what I've heard. I have a lot more work to do here. In fact, I have about 18 episodes to listen to. But so far, this looks like a really, really interesting podcast, which is going to be full of tips and advice and little golden nuggets of wonder that you can take away and I think action in your business straight away. So that's my third industry specific podcast to recommend to you. So the first one was Clean Beauty Insiders. Second was the Clean Chat by the Clean Hub. And the third is the Skinny on Beauty by Cheryl Hawley. So they're my three beauty ones. I want to go a little off piste because we're entrepreneurs. And part of my mission at Indie Beauty Delivers is to guide and provide motivation and inspiration to every entrepreneur that I come across, particularly in the beauty world, but in all aspects of their entrepreneurial journey. And I'm no expert at any of those, but I have a couple of podcasts that have made a huge difference to me. And I want to share those with you today as well. So my first one is called Your Dream Life and it's by Christina Carlson. Now, Christina Carlson, some of you may be aware of. She is the incredibly talented, incredibly driven entrepreneur behind my favourite stationery brand, and I'm sure your favourite stationery brand, Kiki K. And so she is somebody that had a dream to bring Swedish design into the households of everybody and put little moments of wonder and loveliness into people's lives through these amazingly designed pieces of stationery that she sells through her Kiki K shops. Anybody who watches my Instagram stories will see that I pop into Kiki K in St Pancras Station every time I'm in London. Now, I came across Christina Carlson's Dream Life last year, probably October, I think, because John bought me a book by Christina Carlson, which changed my life. I can't remember what the book's called. I think it's called Your Dream Life. It's not called Your Dream Life. It's slightly different to the podcast. I'll put it in the notes below so that you can have a look at it. It's an amazing book which is full of exercises or guidance to help you to take those dreams that are in your head and sort of put them down on paper essentially, and then begin to work towards them and actually turn some of those dreams into a reality. It is a game-changing book, or it has been a game-changing book for me, and I am totally loving it. To support the book, she launched her podcast called Your Dream Life. There are I'm sure I wrote down 15 episodes so far. Oh my gosh, 15 episodes. I think this podcast is so good. I am literally checking it every single day to see whether a new one has been downloaded. And then I'm straight on it. They're quite long podcasts. They tend to be around about an hour long. But they are still just brilliant. She interviews. So she is on a mission to get 101 million people in the world to write down a dream and make it happen. And that's what her podcast's goal is for. And she interviews a number of different people from all different walks of life. So it might be, she might interview people about meditation, diet and food, self-care, life hacks, self-belief. She just gets experts in who can look at all aspects of your life and help you make little tweaks that make it easier for you to essentially live your best life every single day. And yeah, she's a real game changer for me. So make room for Christina Carlson, Kiki K, and the podcast Your Dream Life in your life. You will start to achieve some incredible things that you did not think was possible. And I will link to the book below as well, because I just can't remember exactly. I think it's called I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, I'm gonna post link to it because it is really worth checking out and having a look at. Second podcast I love behind the scenes is Happy Place by Fern Cotton. Now, Fern Cotton is a little bit younger than me, but I feel like I grew up with her on like Radio 1 and all those sorts of things that I used to listen to when I was younger. And Fern has always been fairly open and honest about her own troubles with mental health. And so Happy Place is a podcast all about helping people with mental health issues. Although she doesn't labour that too much. And what she does in the podcast, I think there's 25 episodes so far, is she interviews both celebrities and also some of her friends who aren't celebrities about, she says, life, loss and love. But really about their lives and how they've dealt with certain challenges that they've been facing. So she's interviewed people like Tom Daley, Davina McCall, Gary Barlow, some really big figures. And what she's very good at is being able to prize out of the people she's interviewing some really personal details which you can relate to. And so there's lots of nuggets in there that you can take out and put into your life, depending on what the challenges are that you're facing. And they vary in length. They're very relaxed, they're very laid back, they're very Fern Cotton. So you've got to like the girl to like the podcast, I guess. But for me, it just hits all the buttons. It's entertaining, it's humorous, it's useful, and it's always giving me something that I walk away with and that I can use in my life just to make an improvement or a tweak somewhere. So they're my two kind of behind the scenes podcasts, which I would recommend that you go check out. And I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. So the first one was Your Dream Life by Kiki K, Christina Carlson, and the second one was Happy Place by Fern Cotton. Right, before I finish, I posted in Indie Beauty Rocks, my Facebook group, to ask if anybody could recommend any podcasts. And the wonderful Rebecca Sutton came back with the most amazing list. And I am going to, and there were some really, really new ones on here. So I'm gonna tell you what they are. I'm going to go check most of these out because they look absolutely brilliant. You can go check them out too. We can compare notes another time. So first up, she mentioned Green Beauty Conversations by Formula Botanica. We all know about that podcast. It's awesome. I do subscribe to that and I do listen to that. It's such a mixture of really great sort of topics. I dip in and out because some of them don't necessarily work for me, like the formulation ones. That never means anything to me. But the trend stuff, the marketing stuff, whoa, it's awesome. So if you don't already subscribe to that one, I'm pretty sure you do. But if you don't, that's Green Beauty Conversations by Formula Botanica. Okay, and here's the rest of Rebecca's list. So she mentioned one called Breaking Beauty. And this is a podcast all about how to break into the beauty industry, basically. What more could you want? It's basically a podcast for you, for me. It's amazing. And I've had a quick look at it. And yeah, it looks like there's some really juicy episodes on there covering exactly the sorts of topics that you would expect to see covered on a podcast that deals with breaking into the industry. She also recommended Ethical Hour by Sean Conway. And these are cutting edge conversations from world leading ethical innovators. It looks great. Really, really good. So if, you know, the ethical side of the business means a lot to you, the ethical side of your life means a lot to you, this looks like a fantastic one to get your headphones stuck into. I don't know whether that works. Goop, which is Gwyneth Paltrow's podcast. I have tried Goop before. It's a little bit American, if you know what I mean. You've got, I think you have to like Gwyneth, and you have to like the way she does things, because it can be a little bit too much, but go check it out. You don't know till you've checked it out, do you? And let's face it, she is one of the industry leading figures, so there's whatever happens, there's a lot of great stuff in there, so go check that out. Fat Mascara was one that she mentioned. This is two beauty editors who basically give you inside access and very candid stories about what's happening in the industry and their take on it. Forever 35, which is a self-care and wellness podcast. Mind Body Green, which is motivational interviews with people who are shaping the wellness world, and it's all about health, fitness, nutrition, and self-help. And then the final one she mentioned was Natch Beaut, Natch, new word, Beaut, Beaut. And this is basically a podcast put together by a comedian who loves beauty. So it's a very sort of comedic look at beauty and self-care, and she interviews celebs and brand owners. So again, I haven't tried any of those other than Goop and Korean Beauty Conversations. These are recommendations that have come in from the wonderful Rebecca Sutton in the Facebook group. I'm going to go try them. They sound amazing. And the way I'm consuming podcasts, I need about another 10 on my list because I get through them so quickly. So that's it for today. Something completely different, a little bit off the wall, but I hope you've found some really interesting podcasts in there that you can go and add some serious value to your life with, really. And don't forget, if you've got podcasts that you think I should be listening to or that you want to recommend to other beautypreneurs, post them below. I would love to hear. Look out for my blog this week. It's going to be going live, I'd like to say later today, but in reality it's probably going to be tomorrow, because in that I'm going to share my favourite books that I've read so far this year. And they're quite inspirational, quite motivational, but I thought this week I'd just do a little bit of that instead of the same old marketing and logistics. So have a look out for that blog, keep your eyes open for it. I'd love to know. And again, if you've got books that you want to recommend to me, God, I consume those like really fast too, so I'd love to hear from you on that side of things as well. Okay, that is me. It has been a pleasure. Thank you for tuning in to Indie Beauty TV. Look out for next week. We'll be on next Thursday at 3 p.m. Haven't quite decided what I'm going to do yet, so keep your eyes open. I'll post it in plenty of time so that you know. Loads of indie hugs and love. Bye.